was years ago, 60 years ago, I was able to pass those courses. So very, very difficult. I think for any student trying to go into engineering, I think you have to offer a program that would give them a chance to pass the SAT science program or test to get them accepted. I think that's very critical, and I don't think it's proper to have just the top 5% of the class or something take the course. I think you have to have a course that, and I'll use the engineering model, 25% of the students going to college ought to have a chance to qualify for engineering. So I'll come back and say, I think the 10, and I don't know what the difference, I'll ask a question before I continue. The 14 classes versus the 10, is that lab time? What's the difference in how do they squeeze it in? Because from what little I read too in the minutes and correspondence that we were given, the teachers raised doubts about the kids being able to do it. And that would be my concern as well. I think taking 2 AP physics programs in junior year, I think that's too much. If this new class maybe backed off a little bit on the labs, because I don't think it's as important as covering the subject matter. It might be able to be engineered so that, or designed such that the kids that wanted to get into engineering school had a chance. Now, I'm hoping Preeti also adds her comments, but I think it's critical that they be given a program and a chance to get into engineering school, and I think it's wrong to only give them 40% of the material in AP1. So you've got to find a way to accommodate them better, and I think what little I know of the program, I would think the 10 period class is a better solution, but with fewer labs in the AP program. Make sure you cover the subject matter. The SAT subject course is not going to be a lab. It's going to be problem solving and taking the test, and I would think that's where the focus of it will be. So I would hope that the electrical engineer next to me can add her comments.
Well, I have lots of thoughts. First of all, regardless of how we got here, I'm appreciative of possibilities of a resolution. And in particular, going forward, with the option of the 10 period, I was supportive of that solution even in committee, and I still am. Obviously, the other first option was the just AP Physics 1 that you said. I'm too far away. Okay. AP Physics 1, but then teaching the balance of the information, I'm supportive of that. For the current 10th graders, they really only have, if you don't get into that 10th grade program, and if you truly are interested in engineering, then your only choices are really to take the 2. So I'm appreciative of that option as well, and let's see how many students really sign up for that. However, for the current 9th and 10th graders, am I doing the math? The current 9th graders, I'm just repeating what I said in curriculum. I was actually requesting one additional option, is that if a student chose to, they could take AP Physics 1 in 10th grade, AP Physics 2 in 11th grade, and AP Physics C in 12th grade sequentially. So I was still supportive of that additional option. That was there as part of the discussion. However, I was not in majority in that thinking. Maybe somebody has changed their mind based on additional self-thought or research. But I will at least go on record saying I am still supportive of 9th graders having an option of taking these classes sequentially. And to your thing, The requirements for labs have changed due to state requirements and college-wide requirements. It's not just up to our district to decide what we teach and don't teach, because the labs have to be part of it.
Yeah, I was watering down the land, not eliminating.
Yeah, but I think they're actually building them up more.
Well, they could be. I wanted to come back to, if I had to take science programs, I think I could combine chemistry and biology in the same year a lot easier than I could combine the physics, 1 and 2. So I think the idea of 10th grade, 11th grade, and if you have to double up, I would recommend doubling up on the chemistry and the biology, of course, maybe I'm prejudiced. I also have a problem with afternoon or preschool. Some of the kids in sports and things are not going to be able to participate. And I looked at, and it's interesting, the curriculum has expanded. I didn't have atomic physics, quantum phenomenon, so the program's even expanded from what I'm used to. To try and do that in 10 or 15 classes. In fact, you have electric fields and forces. You can't do that in short term. This is very complicated stuff, particularly if your intent is to problem solve. If your intent is to see an experiment and say, here's what a magnetic field is, that's fine. But if you're going to start calculating and working with those details, you're not going to do it in this schedule that was proposed. So I think you have to design a course, and I think it's critical for the students who want to go on to engineering.
After the curriculum meeting, I spent hours going through like the top public schools in New Jersey and looking and reading through all of their programs and studies. And I found very few that offer the amount of physics that we offer. And very few that offer AP Physics 1, AP Physics 2, and AP Physics C. Many of them do the jump from honors physics to C, AP Physics C. And many do the jump from AP Physics 1 to AP Physics C. Through all of my reading and research, I really had, I guess, a change of heart from when I was supportive of the concurrent EP 1 and 2. They don't seem to really go together. I mean, it would be a hardship, I think, on the student to take them both at the same time and for 14 credits a week. If we were to create this accelerated 1 and 2 class, I mean, obviously, I guess we would have to see, one, if the teachers really were able to do it, and two, if the real enrollment was really there. But if the student struggles and has to drop by the first, I guess they would just have to go to AP Physics 1, right? Or I guess honors if it was really. But I agree with Preeti. I don't think our programs of study shows that you can jump from honors physics to AP Physics C. But a lot of other schools do it. I don't know if it's a consideration for those, especially for those kids who are really looking for that SAT prep and being prepared for that subject test. Right now, I'd probably say my support would be for to take them separately. I don't think going from starting in the 10th grade and doubling up on sciences 10th, 11th, and 12th grade is good for the students. I think you can put too much stress on them. And I did not see any of the forms I looked at that allowed a student to take AP Physics 1 as a 10th grader.
In Bridgewater, as an alumni of my university grad school I graduated from, I met 2 seniors. They took AP Physics C. So 2 students from Bridgewater that took AP Physics C in 10th grade. And then they took AP Physics 1, and then they took AP Physics 2. Bridgewater allows you through option 2 to do whatever you want to do. So I think we have to let the students and the families sometimes decide what they want to do. We don't have to dictate everything. And I don't want to be so restrictive, because in 11th grade, there are many students that take 2 sciences. They take AP Physics 1 with biology or chemistry, and the labs do match up. And so the idea of doubling up on sciences, it's already done.
I'm saying in 10th grade. I'm not
But-
saying in
but why restrict? I'm just saying, why do we have to restrict them? If the student wants to do it, that's just my thing. I know I'm in the minority, so I don't think I'm going to convince anybody of anything, but I really feel that why restrict the students or the families if they want to, especially take physics sequentially. So that's all.
Mike, Karen? There's a few things I'd like to add. What we're talking about creates a situation where we will have 7 options for physics. I think that's an incredible number of courses. I think it raises some concerns about class sizes for the kids who need class sizes controlled the most. If you look at what we offer, we have CP Conceptual, CP Mathematical, Honors, Physics 1, potentially Physics 2 with one of the scenarios we're talking about, and this AP Accelerated, all offered to 11th graders. There's only, 450 11th graders. Exactly how many sections of physics do we really need to be offering, and at what price to the kids who need the attention the most? Physics is challenging at whatever level you're at, if you're at the appropriate level for you. So CP Mathematical kids need the appropriate class size for them, so I have concerns about that. I'm a little concerned that to push down to 10th grade, one of our administrators suggested was adding a lot of stress to a young student. And while I agree with Rhonda's point earlier, I do think there's a small subset of juniors who quite appropriately could succeed at the proposed accelerated course. And I'm not against it, but I am for very strong criteria for entrance into it, including teacher recommendation, as well as a strong chemistry grade, a strong math grade. In Karen's world, they would be concurrently enrolled in AP Calculus. But that's negotiable, I guess. I mean, I think that's still probably going to be a lot of the same kids in the end. But I'm not supportive of Physics 1 and Physics 2 concurrently being offered to juniors for 14 class periods per week. I think it's an awful lot. I think what Robin said is true. It's limiting in terms of their electives. I also think the 10th grade suggestion is limiting in electives when it comes time to try to complete your state mandated requirements for graduation. And it concerns me a little bit that we're having this conversation given that there's definitely some reservation in the report that Matt shared regarding what the teachers feel is appropriate. They are the experts in physics, and I think we need to move cautiously as we consider this and really listen to what they have to say. Mike, did you have something else?
Yeah, I wanted to give you my impression of calculus, and I think it's the Physics C. Calculus is more a technique of, it's not physics, except maybe...
I'm well aware that it's not physics.
But in electrical engineering, you need calculus. This is my opinion. I needed calculus. It's impossible to do it. But in the other fields, at least you can come awful close to an answer with non-calculus physics. And I think the least important in my mind is that last one, Physics C. If in fact that's just adding calculus or the technique of solving the problems, I think 1 and 2 covered the subject matter, and C was just a calculus addition. Now maybe I'm wrong.
Completely different course and pretty much limited to 12th graders here at Ridge.
But how about the subjects? Is it mechanics, heat and sound, electricity? Or,
It's mechanics and electricity and magnetism.
so you've had that already?
You've had it in your
Yeah.
algebra base.
And
It's
I
algebra
would-
based.
And I would argue that you really don't learn much physics by any calculus. You maybe can do different problems, but the subject matter can be taught without the calculus. I don't think that's true of electrical engineering, but I think it's more important, particularly in high school, to learn the subject areas and what's going on rather than the advanced techniques. That's my opinion. I don't think physics C is nearly as important as 1 and 2.
Well, the thing is about physics C is the colleges are looking for students who want to go into engineering. They like to see that physics C.
Well, they'll get calculus and all of that other material when they get to college.
No, I understand that, but that's one of the,
Could be, but it doesn't teach physics. It teaches mathematics.
Preeti?
Just for the 10-period physics scenario, thank you. I'm Slate and I'm really tired. So the 10-period scenario, that class is algebra based. I would not expect any student to have or be taking calculus if you want to take that class. You need calculus for physics C. So I would not make that request.
If I can just interject, I understand that completely. I think it seems like I might not understand what I'm talking about. I'm driving at the point of the students that end up in the class would then be the best and the brightest from the top sliver because they've already in the already got the
Yeah, I would not be supportive of that. It's just, you know, girls, like we've had this conversation, girls may not want to be in it. They may decide last minute. This whole thing with the math being upfront, and then, so that if you do something like that, then math becomes a big issue in middle school. It just gets pushed down and everybody tries to get into it when they don't need to. I would not be supportive of having calculus be a criteria for the 10.
Now, I think to Karen's point, it wasn't necessarily, she was thinking mainly, I think, about the idea of how do you filter out
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
make
I know,
it safe
that's
for those
fine.
kids. And
Yeah.
you know, in likelihood, they probably would be impacted, but they wouldn't necessarily have to be. It's just, how do you make sure? Because in fairness to the teachers, look, I mean, I think what we're getting at is we want to trust the expertise of the teachers teaching the class. And that's, we're listening to these professionals, and that's kind of how we got to here. This isn't really working, okay? So we had change. The AP board came down and said, here's the change. We tried something, and we decided there wasn't enough time to make this work reasonably effectively. So basically, the idea of a 10-period option is kind of saying, okay, we didn't have enough time to try to do it the way we wanted to in Burnham Township. What if we take and we create a course that's a little different and adds more time? It adds 3 more periods a week. Would that do it? Would that put us into a zone where, yeah, there might be some compromise. It might not be the ideal thing that the College Board was really shooting for. Maybe there's a little compromise, but it meets the needs of a certain group of kids. We could look at trying that, just like we tried to do it the Burnham Township way, and it didn't work out, so we could try a new Burnham Township way, and we'll be in the same place. Maybe we're reconvening next February saying, okay, how's this going? Because if this doesn't work, then you're punting again, which is okay. Okay, sometimes you only score 1 touchdown, you punt more than once. And you might be saying again, well, you know what? The College Board said, do it in 2 AP courses. We said, we're going to try it in 1 AP course. Well, that didn't work out so great. So we come back with a 10-period AP course, and we try it again. That might not work out. And then we're probably going to be back to saying, okay, we tried it 2 different ways. We're going to do it your way only, and just do it as 2 separate courses, 7 periods each. And we're not really going to know that unless we try. And in fairness to the teachers, when we asked for their feedback on this, like you said, they were a little hesitant. You know, it's not ideal. It's not truly in the spirit of what the new curriculum, the new approach to the want. Doesn't mean we can't try. It's just maybe not going to be perfect. But it's got to be better than only 7 periods a week.
yeah, Yeah, I wanted to say I agree. If we do this 10-period a week class, I would like to see it as sort of, try it, and then we evaluate again next year and see how it's working, because I feel like we cannot possibly be the only school district that is having this dilemma. I think this is probably, discussions like this may be happening across the entire country. In addition, I think the colleges are reevaluating requiring the SAT subject test because of so many changes in curriculum. Just as an example, Brian sent a list of colleges, and there were only a very, very small number that actually said we require the SAT subject test in physics for engineering. Many very high-quality schools, including Caltech, MIT, and Carnegie Mellon, have sort of taken one step back and said, we want to have your math level 2 and a science subject test, but they didn't say it's specs that it has to be physics. And I think one of the reasons is that this entire AP Physics curriculum has been in such flux for the past couple of years. So with that, I guess I just want to kind of put in my 2 cents, and I'll be brief. I definitely would support students taking AP Physics 1 with the support plan that we discussed for preparing for the subject test. And I do support, again, as sort of a trial, offering the accelerated AP 1 and 2 with the 10 periods a week. And I really have reservations about allowing 11th graders to enroll concurrently in AP Physics 1 and AP Physics 2. I don't know, to me, AP Physics is really not the same as AP Biology or Chemistry or AP Environmental Science in terms of the workload or stress level. And I know that, students in the past have succeeded in doubling up on AP Sciences, but I don't know, I feel like, doing the 2 AP Physics courses concurrently would, number one, be more stressful, and I do have concerns because if you go on the AP College Board website, it does list the AP Physics 1 course as recommended preparation for the AP Physics 2 course, so I do worry about the students trying to do them both concurrently. Right?
I just have one more comment or two. I reached out to John Fry. I couldn't reach him, but he taught physics, and I thought his input would have been very important. I didn't realize he wasn't in town or wasn't available. So, because I do think the physics teachers would know more about the program than we do. We're too far away from it. And if I had to vote, I would certainly recommend if I had to pick, I would want the 10 credit course. So.
I just wanted to say that I agree with the comments Linda just made about how we don't know what's going to happen, down the road with the College Board. A number of colleges that I was just visiting, my daughter, have just gotten rid of subject tests. We don't know what the College Board's going to do, because it just lost a lot of business to the ACT. And it could decide to get rid of subject tests, if the schools could decide to not take them anymore. There's not that many schools that require them now. So I hate to make changes all based around this subject test thing. And I have the concerns that Karen has with all these different physics courses. We don't even know right now how many kids are going to sign up for Physics C versus Physics 2 for senior year. So we don't know how many kids would want this 10-period class, and we don't know how many, how many kids are going to want stuff. So it's like a big schedule nightmare. So I kind of agree that, like, I think we could try the accelerated one as a pilot and see how it goes, because we don't know how many kids can even try to sign up for it. I really hate the idea of them taking 2 physics at the same time, taking up all their elective slots and stuff. And that's my same concern with the 10th grade. They wouldn't even be able to get their practical and fine arts in, because that would take up 2 periods, and they would still have to have science as their, they would have no electives. So, I don't like the concurrent enrollment either. So,
I feel like I need to reemphasize the point Karen Gray made. I don't want to do any of
of this at the expense of class sizes for the CP physics students who probably need more of the attention when they're enrolled in physics. Karen Richmond, I want to thank you for all the time you took looking at what other schools are doing, because I know that is an onerous task, so thank you.
I have two questions. I'm wondering if we could ask Matt or Brian. You don't have to answer on the spot, but just to put out there. One is, would it even be possible to get College Board accreditation for this 10-period per week course, given that there's a 25% requirement of lab time for both courses? That's my first question. And my second question, someone actually asked me this question over the past week with the many physics conversations we've all had. What happens, and I know we're a couple years away, with the STEM kids? Because they have a set of electives driven by what their STEAM Academy, I'm sorry, I said STEM, STEAM Academy courses are. So we got a lot of email, as you know, telling us that parents know that their 7th and 8th graders are destined for STEM careers. And so they're going to come into the high school, at least with the expectation that they're going to be able to do it all in addition to being in that STEAM Academy. And it sounds like it may be a public relations thing, but it's just something to put into the mix.
I'll jump in. I think I'll answer both Matt and I. For the first one, will we get it approved by the College Board? Of course, we don't know until we send it in to them. I think what Matt and I both talked about is that we know some schools are running it in a block model, essentially, so that what we would look to do is emulate what schools running block scheduling are doing with their AP Physics 1 and AP Physics 2 combination. So that's kind of the idea, is using, within our regular schedule, emulating a block model schedule within Ridge's standard 9-period schedule. Right? So that's the plan. The College Board has gotten more and more stringent in acceptance over the past 2 years. The first couple of years of that new policy where we submit our curriculum was pretty easy going. We submit it and we get it approved very quickly, and it was very easy. But over the past 2 years, we've seen more and more that have been bounced back to us with very specific commentary. So it would be a challenge, as Mr. Byrne mentioned, talking about labs. One of the things we're seeing very frequently is the College Board sending it back to us saying, there needs to be more inquiry-based labs in this curriculum, and it gets bounced back. So it won't get approved. If it's not approved, that means it's not listed in our program of study as an AP course, and the student's transcript would not read AP. It would simply not be able to read that when we send it out. So it has to be an approved course.
So we might need to footnote this, if we offer this, that if for some reason we can't get approval for this model, we're going to schedule you into AP Physics 1.
Correct. I think that would be wise to say that. I think, the fact is we know there are schools running in a block, and can we look at that model? Would it fit in the days and the time we have allocated? That would be the question we have to deal with. Second one, STEM. Right, STEAM. High school, so it's STEAM. So yeah, if they are in their, currently the plan is that juniors have 2 slots taken up in their junior year, which would account for both of their elective slots. So that it could be difficult for some students. So that's, of course, down the road. So I'd hate to say, well, yes, this will definitely happen, or no, it won't happen. We know that things change so frequently. While we're here today talking about physics, because it has changed in the recent past. So that would be something we would look to. The goal would always be to let students in the academy have access to every course that students at Ridge have access to. Might that mean we push an elective from where it's slated in junior year to senior year, for instance, AP research or something like that? Might we, one of the goals, of course, of the board and what we've been talking about is the schedule at Ridge High School, right? Might we be in a different place in 2 years where there's an alternative schedule at Ridge High School that lets us fit this all in more neatly? So that would be the goal. So I don't want to worry about something that's still far off, a little ways off. That might change, but the goal would be to make sure if a student is in the STEAM Academy, they would be able to take any option a Ridge student can take in junior year and still maintain the academy.
I'd like to make a comment based upon that. When I was in high school, I took calculus and did not take solid geometry, and I was turned down an admission, and the guidance department had to write a letter that the calculus course was a more advanced course than the solid geometry, and we covered that in the corner of the program. Well, if this 10-credit course, AP or not, you could call it pre-engineering, you could call it any number of things. And with the transcript sent out, you could certainly say that it's an advanced course. So if it better serves the student's interest than the AP, I think the guidance department can easily qualify, what it is when the kids are applying to college. So I'm not so much concerned that the powers that be would accept it. I think Ridge has a good enough name that any major university would accept our guidance department comments on the subject.
I just wanted to make one more comment, and I would hope that the majority of students who are taking AP Physics would take AP Physics 1 in 11th grade, and then in 12th grade decide if they wanted to continue studying physics. Either take AP Physics 2 or AP Physics C. That's what I would hope would be the sort of standard path. And if we do this accelerated course, it would be just for the, a certain top cohort of students that was, really capable and very motivated to do that. Are there any more comments or questions?
I mentioned it in curriculum, and when College Board split the AP class into two, Part 1 and Part 2, there in itself are going to have staffing issues anyway, so I believe the administration is addressing the class size and reallocating budget for that already. So, because we have only one AP class, now we have two, 1 and 2. So it would have happened anyway, regardless. And I think if you don't want the students to take the two together in 11th grade, I still am supportive of letting them start in 10th grade. It has to be a student's decision. I don't think we have a right to decide for other students and families when they can start physics. It's just, I may be the minority, but I definitely am supportive of them taking it in 10th grade, especially now. If you're not going to allow them, it appears to me you're not going to allow them to take them concurrently. So you're restricting them, not letting them take it concurrently. You're restricting them and not letting them take it in 10th grade. That solution is not viable to me for families who actually want to learn physics.
Families or students?
Students, but you know what? There are parents that are involved guiding students also.
I think that's one of the concerns that I have, though, is that a parent is going to tell a 9th grader, you will sign up for AP Physics 1, whether there is any chance in the universe they're actually prepared and ready to jump into a college-level physics course, and then you know who gets hurt? The kids who are in the class at the level below, and that student has to drop down in 3 or 6 or whatever, up to 11 weeks at the end of the first marking period. So we have to tread lightly, knowing that they're not in their own little vacuum. There will be impact to other students if it doesn't go as smoothly as anticipated.
But it's a new thing. There's always bumps along the way. And also, we do allow even 9th graders to take computer science at Ridge. We allow 9th graders, we did this year, we allowed it to the program of studies. We allow 10th graders to take psychology, statistics, human geography, European history. They're all AP classes. So not everybody's going to be dying to take it. It's for the few students who want to take the sequence, and especially limiting them and saying these things. I just don't like all the limitations.
I agree.
Are there any other comments on this topic? So,
I think a show of hands would be helpful.
Can we have a show of hands? I'm going to go through each of the options.
I don't think it's something that we should vote on. same background here, so you're voting on something you don't even understand. I think it's the administration and the science department and the decision will be made by the administration. I don't think we're qualified.
I'll do whatever the pleasure of the board is.
I agree with what Mike just said. I think it might be helpful if we just like showed hands for who supports what and then let them go to use that to guide the decision. Because everyone was talking and they might not even remember how many people supported which thing, so it's a very confusing conversation.
I'll get one of my books out based on it, if anybody can do any of the problems. Any of the problems.
They get to pick what we do.
Brian can probably just read a simple, a sample
Find the
problem.
easiest one, Brian.
There are none.
All right, now, we're not having a roll call vote or anything like really official and formal here, but as far as the AP Physics 1 with the support plan for preparing for the subject test? Okay, looks like we pretty much have support on that one.
Unless you're a baseball player or a track runner or something, then you can't do it.
The next option is enroll concurrently in AP Physics 1 and AP Physics 2. And then the third option is to develop a new course that would cover the AP Physics 1 and 2 curriculum in 2 back-to-back periods with 10 periods a week.
Okay, so does that give you?
Yeah.
How about the 10th grade option?
Okay, how about who supports allowing students to take AP Physics 1 and 10?
Well, she's probably the one that could do the problems.
Problem
So I'll support her because
Okay.
she could probably do the
So-
problems.
I think that gives you probably a fairly good idea.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, thanks, everybody. So let's see. Advocacy, I don't think, Karen, I don't think there's anything.
Put that last.
Right. I don't have any liaison reports for tonight. Does anyone else have any liaison? No? Okay. Now we're up to public comments on other than agenda items, so. Hi, Michelle Capola, 44 Vanderbilt Drive.
I wanted to add one more thing in because it really didn't seem to get touched upon in the physics topic. And I certainly cannot speak to what was in the class last year because it was supposed to be physics B1 and B2 together. So what we don't know is how many topics were left out, but I guess we can find that out pretty easily. But what I am a big fan of is looking at the school report card. And when you look at that, the students last year who had that class, now I know there were different teachers, but whatever. It was unbelievable to me, and I really would love it if everyone would just take a look at it. You have classes like Algebra 2 Honors, Algebra 2, Pre-Calculus, where you have very, very few. In the A category, you have 31 or 27 below a C minus. Where in that particular class, and even if you look at AP, Lit and Lang, or whatever the one is for juniors, there's not one A+. But if you look at that particular class last year, 19 A+, 19 A's, and 21 A minuses. Now I know they're brilliant kids, but if it was so over the top, putting A, B1 and B2 together, then wouldn't we see that those kids struggled in the class? I mean, I just don't know. Did the teachers just give the grades away and give really easy tests? Or did they cut out so many topics that it didn't even resemble B1 and B2? But then if you look at the score on the SAT2, it's like right up there as the second or third highest SAT2 score. Like there's a lot in the 600s, and that happened to be like, I'm making this up, but I think it was 710 or something really close to that. And if you also look at the AP exams, I know it's not 99 like AP psychology, but it's not AP psychology, it's a hard class. And you had 87% getting a 3, 4, or 5. Now, I know it's not going to count if you don't have a 4 or 5, I get that, but for 7 days the first time, I mean 5 days on it, or no, 7 days on it, I think they did all right. 19 A pluses, 19 A's, and 21 A minuses. That seems pretty darn good to me. And I think there was one kid who got a grade that was below a C minus. And then when they took the AP2, B2, I think it was it like 76? It was something not great, but still pretty decent. So I acknowledge there was a lot more 3s, so it's not going to count for college credit. But it's not like these kids were not even in the ballpark. They were, I don't know, I got A's. So I just know that you didn't mention that, so I don't know if anyone cares, but it only has context if we can find out how many topics they actually taught. And so maybe if you knew that and you said, oh, well, we didn't get to 2 of the topics, if we have those 3 extra days, they can have those 2 topics. You know what I mean? Like, we need to know how much they left out last year when they did it. And, you know, I don't know. I was just saying that. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Hi, Carolyn Gaziano, 17 Manchester Drive. I just wanted to come up and say something about physics also, because we just found out in scheduling, I have a student in honors physics now who wanted to take AP Physics 1 next year, and just found out that you can't take that. You have to jump all the way to AP Physics C, and that's not really going to work for him. So I just wanted to understand why you can't take AP Physics 1 after taking honors physics. But it's not, because one is only honors and one is AP.
Are there any other public comments? Okay, I'll close public comments. We're up to board forum. Does anyone have any items for board forum?
I'm gonna beat you to it.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. And
I move for adjournment.